We had a comment a while back about how valid psychological types or MBTI was, and it brought up some thoughts for us.
Right, because people consider this a theory.
A pseudoscience. That was
Right.
the word.
Yes.
And they essentially said, this person says this, that person says that, you say this. Nothing's congruent, therefore pseudoscience.
So I guess it led me to have some thoughts about what we call theories and the acceptance of such theories in society and the non-acceptance of other theories in society.
Depending on the nature of the theory.
Exactly.
Not the theory itself necessarily, but what sort of realm the theory comes from, or what perspective the theory comes from. So the obvious one that we've mentioned in comments and responses is Darwin. Now, on the face of it, to say it, this bloke thinks that we evolved from monkeys. It's quite fantastical, really, when you think. If you were to first introduce this to someone, they'd think, you having a laugh, mate? Right?
Uh-huh.
Yet today, this is widely accepted. And like you
Right.
said, you can have a degree in this
Right.
theory.
And the thing is, it's so widely accepted that I don't think many people even know that it's a theory. Still, it hasn't been proven. It's still considered the
Even
theory
saying that,
of evolution.
even saying that is controversial in some way, because
Yes.
it really is treated like a science.
Exactly.
If you can get a degree in it, I mean, what happens if you got your degree and then the next day it was disproven? Is there an interest in disproving it? That's the thing, isn't it? Because in some way, I think evolution is like a replacement for religion, and scientists don't want to get rid of their religion. Especially if they spent like years studying
Right.
it.
Of course.
What
Especially if they've
evolutionary
devoted their life
scientist
to it. Right.
wants to disprove evolution?
Right.
The field of study itself seemingly would want to protect itself. That's like the turkey voting for Christmas, isn't it? So on that side, and we're neither saying that evolution is right or wrong.
Right. That's not the argument we're making here.
But on that side, widely accepted with very little congruent evidence, really. And then psychological types is the same thing. But one is a highly abstract and intuitive kind of theory. And the other is, well, I saw different birds in different places and they're different. Therefore, monkeys turn into humans. It's equally lacking. But then everyone will believe in evolution, but not in psychological types.
I also think that within the field of psychology itself, there is that acceptance in much the same way that people accept evolutionary theory or evolutionary science. So there are things in psychology that are mainstream accepted. You can study, you can practice, you can devote your life to. But why is it this little segment of psychology, this theory, is considered pseudoscience?
Psychology has like a diagnostics manual, and it's constantly changing.
Yes.
They can't make their minds up of what is like, this is a mental illness, this isn't. And, that says something. So people in this field are constantly changing their minds about things and making new concepts.
The way I see it is that there is definitely two camps in these fields of study.
Yeah, and it's sensory and intuitive, really.
It must be.
Because if you, study, Glenn Beck, the cognitive behavioural therapy guy, he's all very practical, talk about your problems, blah, 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 blah. It's effective, and then all the senses nod and go, yes, that's tangible, that's very good. And then they all agree and everyone claps. And then he's not a pariah because he's done something practical in the world. And therefore, it's, pat on the back. Oh, you're one of the boys now, It's the same with Darwin, really, isn't it? He's seen as a very practical, pragmatic, ST person.
Yeah, and it's very interesting, not to go off topic, but he started out life as a minister.
What, Glenn Beck?
Darwin.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, he was a religious man. But then at the same time, this theory presumably disproves God. That's what people say. So it's gone from things evolve to humans were monkeys to this disproves creation. And all those things are kind of wrong, I think. I think they're extrapolations from his original idea.
Right. Because you can say it disproves God, but then people are trying to reconcile how you can believe in God and still believe in evolution. So again, there's these different camps, right? Setting up.
Camps that don't even know the original idea and what the man actually thought and believed.
Right.
Yet swear blind by it, bow down to his might, but they don't even understand. That's the irony, isn't it?
So I think it's interesting how we can see certain mentalities at work in all of these things when it comes to theories. I think certain things have more of an intuitive appeal, but I think by that very nature, it makes it suspicious to much of the world. Maybe because they can't grasp it at first, therefore it's to be discarded or thrown away. They don't give the benefit of the doubt that maybe there's something in that they
Well, I
just
think it's
can't
difficult, isn't
understand.
it? And I think in some ways, many senses come along and they don't get it. Their theories and what people say about it makes them feel stupid, and therefore they go, no, that's not a thing, and they walk away. I think that's part of it. I mean, this is like the experiences we have when we speak to some sensitive types about things that go over their head and then they sort of go quiet. That's that experience we have, I think, because they don't understand and then they want to pretend it didn't happen. Sometimes. Hashtag not all.
No, again, I think all this has to do with self-awareness in all of us. Because a self-aware sensor recognizes that there's something beyond them that might be more difficult to comprehend.
Yeah, and that's why I like ISFJs,
Yes,
because they're excellent in this way.
ISTP as well. I think they have more than natural tools to see this. But my point is that everyone can. The question is, will they? For me, as my type, logical thought, like truly critical thinking, is hard to come by. I have to work hard at it. I could just look at it and say, oh, I don't understand that. It takes too much work. I'm going to discard it. But I don't, because there's a level of self-awareness there that this is important.
In some ways, you could say that originally, Darwin's idea was an intuitive one.
Right.
But in the mainstream acceptance and, the acceptance of it itself, the fashionization of the idea amongst what I presume to be classical liberal intellectuals has made it a sensor thing, right? Because until it's accepted, that's kind of like one of the necessities of an idea becoming a sensor one. No one pats each other on the back until it's like a thing, and then they're like, "Whoa, by Jove, you've done it!"
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure everyone was saying to Steve Jobs, like, a phone, an iPhone, it's a ridiculous idea. And then when he'd done it, all the ISTJs will come out and they're like, I always knew you'd pull it off in the end. Right?
So I think in some ways we have seen psychological type theory go mainstream. I think we have seen what's happened to it. In other words, that there are corporations that bring people in, or the MBTI, whatever it is, official diagnostic. I guess the company sends people in and they run the test on people, presumably to help the business restructure them according to the talent they have on hand. So in a way, we can say that's kind of the mainstream.
Right. And the 16 personalities
Right.
MBTI company generally as well.
Yes. So I think we've seen the results of that, but in some ways that's has led to it being more of a pseudoscience than ever, I think.
I think it's fun
Right.
in a way. Or they've
Yes.
marketed it as fun, like an icebreaker or team
Yes.
building.
Yes, you're
Yeah,
exactly
that's it.
right. A lot of school systems do this, where on the first day of school for the teachers after the summer break, they will actually bring in or purchase a team building theme for the year. I remember one year we had something built on the Seattle, what's that market out there? Marketplace, Pike Place Market, I think it's called. But it came out of that. It was, I don't know, it was all linked to that. And the fish was the symbol. And we had this whole theme of fish. And they brought the school district bought all these stuffed Nemo like fish things. And they were throwing them around. And it was all team building, trying to get us enthusiastic about the school year. I mean, obviously, you can tell I don't even remember the details because I could see it for what it was.
It sounds compelling.
Yeah. And so every year the school district would do this sort of thing. And I think that it's not just schools, but any kind of business. You're exactly right. It's a team building thing. And so I bet this MBTI
Mm.
thing is also the same thing. We're bringing in a consultant. We're going to test our employees to see what type you are and where is your ideal fit
Yeah.
in our corporation.
And of
And then
course, like, you get what you want,
yeah, of course.
and then you say, well, I'm an INTP, so
Yes.
you have to
Then
be
you're
nice to
puffed
me
up.
now.
Yeah, and then you walk around the office corridors, like, look at me, I'm a special rare
Yeah,
type. I'm
because
this
we
and
all
that.
noticed everyone's special talents.
Yeah, so you're exactly right. It's team building, it's morale building, morale boosting, whatever.
Who knew? We all thought you were weird. But you're an INFJ. Who would have believed it?
Yes. But it doesn't last, They come in and do this, and it's just here today, gone tomorrow. But just as what you said, it's a bit of fun, isn't it? So that's what
Yeah,
this
well, I
is
can
all
imagine it
reduced
would
to. Whereas,
kick the year off, wouldn't it?
uh-huh, exactly. But evolutionary science is not a bit of fun. It's a theory taken very seriously. MBTI, psychological type, is a bit of fun. And when you start getting serious about it, well, you have to remember this is a pseudoscience. You can have fun with it, but don't try to turn it into something more than it is. And that's very telling of the natural inclination of the world to distrust intuitive reason or intuitive theories.